Hello guys, welcome to another stream. Let me just mute myself here in the other browser window. Yeah, so it was like an awesome day for me yesterday. I started streaming and like all of a sudden I had like a lot of people coming into the stream, and then basically I received a few messages from the from the people around the world, like telling me about a Reddit thread that was posted by someone, and it's a huge thing for me. And I thought like probably I should reach out to people who posted there and like tell them how much it meant for me. I'm a new streamer. I'm not a what do you call it professional in it. I just started streaming, and most of the stuff that I stream is purely around the development that I do. I build stuff and I stream it, and I just started doing it recently. So but then like all of a sudden I got this attention, and I'm really thankful for all the people who came around and basically posted about it. I saw like a very interesting discussion going on Reddit about my stream, and like I was able to spark quite a bit of like interest from people, which is really awesome. And let me just address a few of the comments, and I would like to discuss about them. And feel free to basically come along and start talking about it. There is Dejan who is basically asking me how long I have been into the website development. Well, I would say like I've been writing software for almost 15-16 years. As a professional developer, I've been like building stuff in like as a software engineer for almost 11 years now. And basically it's like I hello, yeah, thank you Cryptic. That's really awesome, man. Thank you so much. And I'll just like start sharing my screen with the Reddit post, and we will talk about it. And it's really an interesting discussion. Like, so first of all, like I would like to thank all of you for tuning in today. Uh, yes, I do have a personal website which shows my. Let me just start. Let me switch to my screen here. So this is my personal website. If you are interested in knowing more about me, so it goes by the name of pradeep.vip, and basically it's my personal stuff. Some of the things it's like I have a lot of things on my plate. I have a full-time job, so uh, uh, sometimes like I take time to update it. It talks all about my work, what kind of stuff that I do. It brings in some like some testimonials from the people who have worked with me in the past and what they think about me. A few things that I like, some of the courses that like I completed on different platforms. And then basically I also conduct corporate IT training, so there's like a small brochure about me and like what kind of stuff that I teach. It's purely for the corporate clients. I have a few corporate clients from places like US and Canada primarily. And basically they just when they hire people fresh out of college, they contract or like they reach out to me to conduct trainings for them, and they are mostly corporate trainings. Here is my resume if you are interested in like looking knowing about me, like my experience as a software engineer, what kind of stuff that I've worked on, and a lot of other things, like what are my skills and what are the areas that I'm interested in. And then basically there is a link to my blog. I've stopped writing on this blog for quite some time. Basically it's just a random thing. There are like a lot of things that I'm trying to do, so sometimes I don't find a lot of time to keep my blog updated. But yeah, this is the general snapshot of me and what I do. uh, Dejan says, I'm currently in the MMORPG scene and I'm kinda interested in website depending on the price. So well, the thing is, yeah, you can build websites. They like it's quite different from game development, but yes, there are good options if you are interested in becoming a web developer. It's a good time to start, especially because now everyone every business is trying to get online and have some sort of online presence, and that's a really awesome thing. Thank you, Tedak, for following. Really appreciate it, man. Cool. So guys, let's go over to the Reddit thread, which is like the hot topic that I want to talk about today. And here's the Reddit thread, which says live streamer has been streaming himself creating a website to making it easier for teachers to remote teach. Yeah. So so the thing is this guy posted my live stream on Reddit, and then basically people started talking about what do you mean kids are going back to school in the US? It's still pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, okay. First of all, some of you might not be able to understand my accent because I'm from India, so it's a little bit different. Although I worked in a call center in India a long time ago, and then basically I used to talk to people primarily from United States when I was working in that call center, and they had a hard time understanding my accent. I agree to that, and it's primarily because of the influence of my language, which is Hindi primarily, but I'll try to speak as clearly as I think. So so the thing is in India the situation is right now we have a very bad situation in terms of the number of infections. We have approximately 50 to 60,000 new infections coming in every day, and I don't think it's a very safe time for schools to reopen, given the fact that these are small kids, right? So my 8-year daughter is just starting off. She started her session and then she came back home, and still we are very uncertain. I don't know how it's gonna turn out in India, and she's studying from home, and this is based on my personal experience, guys. I'm not here to offer some service or some paid kind of, because I am a software engineer. I build stuff as an engineer working for a company. It's a full-time job for me, so I'm not doing this out of hobby. It's purely out of necessity. One of the things that I see is generally it's a very even me and my wife, we are also quite struggling with that. We see teachers, they are not as I was discussing with Brendan yesterday, teachers are not very savvy in terms of using these platforms, especially things like Zoom, and these are very new platforms, so they are not too savvy about them, and they don't know how to basically make it work all together, right? So they struggle with calendar integration in terms of Zooms. So the parents are sending WhatsApp messages and text messages on different platforms asking, hey, what's the link for today's class? And it's really difficult. Sometimes the links that they receive are outdated, they don't work anymore, so that the teacher, when they schedule the meeting or put that meeting or on their Zoom account, they forgot to send the updated link. And now especially after Zoom has implemented this password policy, so it's a very what do you call it, a very cumbersome for them to basically conduct their lessons, and also make sure that they don't forget, and not to mention they have to grade the assignments. It's a very very difficult process, and with a full-time job of teaching, it becomes really difficult for them to understand. And as basically Bima mentioned, it's very convoluted setup. So Dejan says that there is nothing wrong selling services considering you are experienced at that. Yeah, I mean you could be right, but one thing that I will talk about it in this thread. One thing that I'm not trying to build a very polished kind of a software. I'm trying to build something which works, right? When it comes to cool tech and all that stuff, believe me guys, I've been doing it for almost most of my life, as far as I remember. I've been working on latest and greatest kind of technology. So that's not the area of interest for me. For me, it's solving a problem, getting it to work, I don't care about like what front end framework am I using. Am I using like React or Angular and those kind of things? Because I've been there. I'm doing that in my professional full time job. It's just simple thing that I want to get it to work. Wonder Boom is telling, I wish our school used the online school program. Our school just sent us a few pieces of homework on Microsoft Teams, which nobody did, as there was no punishment if we didn't do it. Yeah, that's like, yeah, that's another thing. If you cannot measure something, it will not be like implemented. So that's also super important, right? So. What I'm trying to say here is basically is that like it's difficult for teachers right now to cope up, and it's equally difficult for parents as well. Like some of these parents are like, I'm talking about Indian situation, right? In India, some of these parents are not highly educated. They are not like into technology and that stuff. So it's really difficult for them to basically go ahead and work very proficiently with these kind of platforms. There was the message from Wonder Boom. He's like, mean sarcasm. The USA has bad COVID numbers, and they will probably close the school again if they even reopen in the first place. Yeah, and I don't recommend anybody to reopen the schools. Even like the school of my daughter, they were very keen on reopening the school. Although the government hasn't given permission yet, but they were still very keen on reopening the schools. But I don't think it's a very safe move to do, especially given the fact that these are very small kids. And just to like tell you a little bit about the place where my daughter's school is, it's in a hill station in India, right? So it's a hill station in India, and there basically it's a beautiful place, no doubt in that. But that place itself is like right now it's a very remote place without like proper kind of medical facilities. So if the school reopens there, and if we have to send our daughter to the school, I would not be very comfortable doing that, because well, I know that like it's like on very high altitude, and basically even if I had like even if there was a problem and you have to basically shift your kid, it takes an entire day to get down and to a like place where like you have proper hospitals and those kind of things. So that's the kind of situation right now, and that's the reason like I'm not super enthusiastic about schools reopening anytime until we know that like this thing is under control, you have proper vaccination and those kind of things. I don't think it's a good idea to reopen the schools. Right, and then people are talking about schools in Georgia, which is nice. One of the things that I was like I had never used Reddit because well I wasn't like into streaming and those kind of things, and I wasn't like building a community. So there is a phone coming on my cell phone. I'm sorry guys. So the thing is I built an account on Reddit. I just signed up for Reddit Day, and when I was trying to basically reply to some of these comments, it blocked me, because for new accounts probably they have put some sort of a restriction, because right now there are people using these platforms to spread all kind of propaganda. So probably they have tried to slow down people from posting. So there is like a limit, like you after your first comment you cannot make a comment for next 8 minutes or 10 minutes. So it's really like that's the reason I thought of like bringing this okay, there's like probably I missed this. So Wonder Boom is trying to share something related to a Georgia school here, and it's like Georgia school reverses suspension of teen who shared viral photo of hallway packed with students. Yeah, this is like it's a very bad situation. Like think about, like there is even if you had a mask, there would be like no protection in such a situation, such a crowded situation, right? Because well the people are literally like packed into each other, and it's a bad situation, especially in terms of like something as contagious as COVID, right? I wouldn't be very comfortable to basically be in this kind of situation. Right now I've been working from home for like almost 4 months now, and I don't even go out. I don't even go down to my like grocery shop. I just call them, they deliver stuff at my door, and I just don't want to basically be risking my life or somebody else's for that matter, because if I get infected, then I have the potential to infect everybody else who comes in contact with me. So yeah, it's a very, very bad situation. Yeah, anti-science crowd is dangerous, as Brent mentions it. Like, this is really, yeah, man. Basically, people really don't understand. Like, uh, there are, like, I was looking at one of the studies in Wuhan right now. There are cases coming back again. If you go there, uh, I'll have to change my search engine to be Google right now. It's a brand new machine that I built recently for my software development. I moved recently here in Dubai, and then basically there is a situation going on wherein, like, there are new cases coming in, and even the people who have recovered from the infection, they are not able to breathe properly, because it affects your respiratory tract in such a way that basically it takes I don't even know, like, whether doctors and scientists, they are not even sure whether it's like they will be able to recover fully ever. Yeah, Bing basically it comes by default with Edge, which comes by default with Windows. So that's that's the horrible part of it. But yeah, I'll not I hope everybody remembers the stuff which is basically, in 90s there was this browser wars going on, and like Microsoft was trying to ship Edge for free. Not Edge, at that point in time it was Internet Explorer, which was a horrible browser. There are like a lot of broken sites, and I still remember, like, my career was also like very messy because we had to support Internet Explorer and all these other browsers, and all these other browsers had these cool features we wanted to build in our website, but we had to also keep in mind that we had to also support Internet Explorer, which was a horrible piece of technology. But anyways, there are, like, now coming cases coming back into Wuhan, and basically all these people have when they tested them. I don't remember, I think it was somewhere recently that, like, the cases have started emerging back there, which is like a very dangerous sign. So I would not basically want to be in this kind of situation where, like, people are just jam packed and doing stuff. There is, like, Wonder Boom saying, like, yeah, and they say that the antibodies may be short lived, so you might be able to get virus twice. I just hope we get vaccine soon. Yes, man, like, it's really important. Yeah, Reddit is an amazing website, Brandon. Basically, I know that, like, it's a place where, like, people share a lot of cool stuff. I was like, probably it's my my introduction to Reddit is a little bit late, and I think, like, it's a very good place to basically to discuss ideas and, like, basically understand each other's perspective, and it's really awesome. I think, like, there is somebody who posted a bit of context. I randomly stumbled upon his stream looking for a coding streamer and thought his project was really neat. He's designing a website making it super easy for teachers to create lessons, schedules, and calendars for remote teaching. He's doing it all for free and plans to release it for schools without a sign-up fee. Super awesome guy. Thank you so much. I don't know who they are because it's really difficult for you to find the name. This is my name, by the way. Like, I just signed up. This is Pradeep Redingoy. I just signed up. But yeah. And then there is someone who's asking, did we crash it? No, guys. It's like there's nothing to crash on it. So probably you'll get an opportunity to crash it sometime soon. Okay, so that's when he's like he's yeah, it's nice. So it's a very kind of you to basically mention about it, and it's really it means a lot to me, guys. Like, I'm really thankful to you. There are like a few very interesting ideas which are mentioned here, like Google Classrooms plus Microsoft Teams. Guys, okay, one thing that I would like to clarify here with this stream is my project is not about providing a replacement for Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams or Zoom for that matter, and that's not the focus here. My focus here is to basically combine these platforms together to work as one cohesive unit, right? I don't right now that's the problem. All these platforms exist. If you go to Google Classroom, just to show you an idea. So if I show you Classroom, what happens is basically you have to manage your calendar yourself, you have to do stuff yourself, you have to make sure that like whatever meeting platform you are using, for example if you are using Google Meet, just paste the class links and those kind of things. It's really difficult. It's not a replacement for any of these. The teachers will get a full freedom in terms of what platform they want to use, and this is like this is not just going to be limited to this COVID situation. Once this gets over, the teachers can still use these platforms to basically, for example, Google Classroom has these features like defining curriculum and those kind of things. Teachers can still continue to use those things. They don't have to. One of the things that would become irrelevant after this COVID situation would be the students will not be joining the live classes, but everything else, their assignments, their grades, and bringing them from different platforms like Google Classroom and all other places would still be relevant. So it's not just like for this situation. Yeah, this right now it's a pressing issue because we need to basically have all these things coming in here, and teachers need to teach right now and basically make it a seamless experience for everybody. But eventually, once this gets over and like students start going to the physical classrooms, then also it's going to be a very useful tool which teachers and students can use to basically bring together all these platforms like Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams. There is another great platform which I like, which is Khan Academy, which is another awesome resource for educators and students alike, right? So the teachers can integrate these platforms onto the same EduMeet website, and then basically bring all this information on a single dashboard rather than like going to 10 different websites. It's just one place. All this content is basically seamlessly available into your dashboard, so that like you are in a very nice spot wherein people can go ahead and just focus on the learning and teaching part, not focusing about integrating these and like keeping a track of what platform is being used for what, right? So that's the whole goal here. So I'm not providing a replacement for these platforms. I'm just bringing them together. That's the goal. Cool. Would there be any market for tools like this? There is like somebody asking from here. Most of the schools in my country went to Classroom. I already answered this. Like I don't want to create a replacement for these. These are very great tools. Like I sometimes like feel that, and most of these tools are like built by big teams, right? So I don't think I'll be able to provide a replacement for them, for sure. What I'm trying to do is basically I'm trying to combine them or bring them together in a single kind of package. That's the goal. Yeah, Brendan says like I want to make it so that boomer teachers can screw it up. Basically, yeah, that's a nice way. So the idea is basically so that these teachers and like these different generations of like people who are very good at like some parts of the, for example, teachers, they are very good at the subject matter, and they don't have to be good at something else. It's just good enough for them. If we can provide them like simple and easy to use tools without all this ceremony and like clutter around them, I think like that's a real goal of this platform. So that's the idea, right? So this just log in, start a button to click a button to just start the class, and done. You don't have to remember what was the link, whether you need to sign into Zoom or something like that. It happens all automatically after behind the scenes for you. Yeah, so there's a guy by the name of Immature Joke, as he might be able to get some local schools to use it where he's from, but there is zero chance of widespread adoption. The site is pretty amateurish, and there are already plenty of online learning platforms that exist out there, and they are all called learning management systems. Yeah, guys, I know about LMS, and I've been like so there are a ton of LMS, but as I said, like they are very good software. I'm not trying to belittle anybody's efforts here. They're awesome, and to a certain extent, like some of them are quite feature rich as well. But there are like two things that come into place with like, for example, most of the schools, even the like the top schools. For example, my daughter's school, she is studying in this school in India. It's a number one boarding school for girls. Like it's situated in this town, like in this hilly area, and it's an awesome school with like some really nice infrastructure and those kind of. It's a boarding school only for girls. But even this school, they don't have a dedicated IT team, right? So guys, it's really difficult for a school to manage a full-fledged LMS, right? So the goal here is to basically get out of the way and just provide them something which just works, right? And they don't have to set up all this infrastructure. Most of the LMS systems are kind of like, there are like good LMS systems which are open source and freely available, but then you have to set it up on a server, deploy it, manage it, maintain it, and basically secure it. These are some important responsibilities, and I don't think like the schools have some of the schools might have resources, but then it also requires them to basically do like for one school it might not be sensible to just like deploy a full-blown LMS. But if, let's say, if there is an LMS or some sort of a platform which is built and which can be used by like a lot of different schools, then yes, it makes sense. It justifies the cost, and it also makes justifies the effort that is required to build them. But if one school wants to do it, it's not justified in my opinion. Yeah, but Wonder Boom is asking me to do a interview on a local or national news show to advertise when the website is done. I can try to, but right now I'm not in India. I'm outside India, so I don't know whether how feasible it would be. But I do have like a few kind of comments from like my daughter's school. They're quite interested in it, and I'm having a meeting with them next week to basically just get started with their students and teachers right now, and they're quite interested in it. So yes, I would start with like with the people I know, but eventually it might become something more professional and tailored and basically used across by a lot of schools. There is like a comment from Brandon. He says like, one of the downsides of Reddit, it's one of the most cynical places on the internet. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true, man. I saw like although like I okay, I don't get offended very like easily. I know that like people have opinions, and opinions are good to have, right? So it's like it's a good thing to have opinions. And I grew up in a place in India where like in India we have these large families of people, right? And every individual is different. So one of the things that you learn when you are growing up in that kind of family is that you become tolerant of of people's opinions. So yeah, and because you learn how to basically coexist with. So that's one of the things that I feel like is okay for me. I know that people have opinions, and their opinions are valid, right? It's not that my opinion or their versus their. It's all of them are valid. It's just that basically when you get feedback, sometimes some of it is like really mean. People when they get personal, that's when it becomes problem. Otherwise, like if somebody criticizes me or like says something about my approach, that's okay. Like they have every right to do so, and I don't claim to be an expert or perfect in everything. But yeah, that's true. Most news Wonderboom is saying like most news shows can do Skype interviews, so you can stay at home while showing it off. Yes, man, that's true. But as I was like, I'm not a celebrity, and I don't know. Like, let's see how it goes, guys. If you guys can spread the word about it, that would be awesome. I'm somebody. Some of the news channels or like media guys might be interested in talking to me. but I like to keep my expectations grounded, so that like I know like it will grow, slowly as I'm able to offer something useful. If something is useful, right, people are going to find it and eventually use it, right? So that's the real check here, or the real test here. Basically, if I build something useful, people will find it useful, and then basically when they like it, they will automatically share it with others, or go through like telling their known people that like you can use this one. Or if some of the parents might even reach out to their school saying that, hey, this school is using this, or I found this tool online, and why don't you guys use it, it's free and all that stuff. So yeah, they can do it. And if somebody is if somebody comes along and like asks me to do it, I will be interested in doing it. Cool. And then there is this guy, he's telling me that it takes 32 seconds to load the page, which is a very valid use case, man. It's a very valid criticism. I like it. If somebody comes back and like it tells me the content, guys, you have to also remember, like, this is running on a very small server, and I'm not trying to basically hide the issues here. Please don't think that. I know there are like a lot of areas to optimize. There are like a lot of areas to fix in this area. I can probably fix or compress a lot of things. So if you think most of the time that is being taken by are by these JavaScript bundles, right? If you look, they're awesome. They're very slow. These images, they are large. I can compress them and basically make them progressive JPEGs and those kind of things. I know the technology, and I'm thankful that this guy was able to like devote some time and look at it, and then basically come up with the feedback and suggestions. The thing is, right now the focus is not on the performance. Like, let's say if it takes like 30 seconds to load, right? Well, it still loads. I'm not saying like it's not bad. It's horrible. If it's not acceptable for a professional software, but this is more around like it's a community software. People can live with 30 seconds load time initially until I am finished building all those features, and then I can focus on optimizing this and basically making it to a point where like it loads really fast, and it's able to provide some good performance. Cool. So that's the idea, but like I really appreciate it, and thank you, G Blaise. I think if I'm pronouncing this correctly, G Blaise, for taking time to go ahead and look at the performance, man. It's really and thank you, Brendan, for pointing out that it's not really launched yet. Yes, that's true. It's like it's not just launched yet. There are like a lot of areas. For example, this guy is mentioning Honji, that there are like raw uncompressed pictures, which is one of the primary reasons, as we can see here, these JPEGs taking large chunks of the data. So we can convert them into like progressive JPEGs, and then basically which load faster. So this is like these are definitely some areas which can be optimized. And the other thing is, basically right now I'm serving this content from the web server itself. I don't have to serve this content from the web server. I can use something like CloudFront, which is a free CDN. By the way, like this website, my website, it's running from CloudFront, and it's super fast. It loads really fast, right? So I can do the same thing. All this content is coming from CloudFront, so I can do those kind of things. But yeah, I don't want to over engineer. I will engineer it properly when it comes to when I'm finished building the features. I don't want to basically build something which doesn't work but is like super performant. I want something to work, and then I can improve the performance. That's my philosophy, and I'm not saying that this is good or bad. Everybody who like express their opinions are valid, and I can definitely use, if some of you are interested in basically helping me out with this part. I can add I can add you to the GitHub organization where I'm developing this stuff. Please feel free to basically just take a look and fix stuff, which I can always use community contributions, which will be like awesome for me and basically the schools who are going to use it eventually. And then there is this guy. He's the third kaka. He's a like and of course he's Indian. God bless him. I think like generally I've lived in like this is my like third country outside India, and I've seen people generally have like favorable opinions about the community. I don't believe in like this kind of thing where like you have this stereotypes that X people or like people from X place are good. People are people, right? So everybody is more or less like good and bad. Not everybody is good for everyone, and so on. But I really appreciate for the blessings. Thank you so much. And then there is this guy, Kosher Syntax, Indians and .NET, a name a more iconic duo. So people have basically associated Indians with .NET. Although guys, like I would like to clarify one thing, and this is like just about me. Although it's not needed, I don't need to provide a justification here. But yes, when it comes to software development, one thing that I would like to give a hint to everyone is, when you are working on something, always choose the tool that you are most comfortable with. Because believe me guys, like in last 10-12 years I have worked on almost every kind of paradigm that exists today. I've done functional programming, I've done imperative programming, right? I've done structural programming, I've done most of it. And I'm not saying like I'm an expert in all of them. I'm trying to say like I've seen most viewpoints, and I'm doing this for a full-time job, right? So it's what I do for a living. What that means is there is nothing magical in software engineering anywhere. Nothing happens automatically. Everything has to be done, right? What that means is basically no matter what paradigm, what style, what technology you choose, yeah, some of them might be a little bit better than the others. Some of them might be, for example, it's my personal opinion. I don't like PHP, right? It's like, in my opinion, it's a super bad way of, but there are like ton of great websites built using PHP. In fact, like things like Facebook, they started off as PHP websites, right? Now they have like after almost 2 decades of existing, they have revamped everything and moved away from PHP. But yes, you can build very good software in very bad languages, and you can do the opposite. You can basically just screw up everything in a perfectly fine technology stack. So there is nothing, you can go ahead and build stuff, useful stuff, using any programming language, any framework, as long as you keep your focus on the engineering side of the things and not on the ceremony or the languages and those kind of discussions. They are good to have, but they are not the absolute necessity kind. You can get a major in web dev. Okay, I don't understand this comment, but yeah, probably it will be get me through most of my SolidWorks classes. Yeah, so there are like I see we like there are most of, like up until the previous decade, I saw like we were doing IT for most of the world, right? When I say we, I mean the Indian companies, right? So most of the software development. The guy was asking. Okay, so there is a comment on the Twitch chat. So the guy was asking if it's possible to get a degree in web development. Well, you can get a CS right degree, and basically I don't think there are like most of the universities have some sort of a dedicated degree in web development. They have programs in computer science, so you can get a CS degree, which will basically give you basics of programming and writing code using some language. But all languages have some primitive, like fundamental constructs like variables, loops, and as I was saying yesterday in my previous stream, so these are the building blocks of every programming language. So no matter what language you use, you can do a major in like any of those CS courses available, and then they are good enough to get you started. Although like some of the stuff I don't know about universities in different countries, but one of the things that I know about, for example, in the universities in India, they don't have what do you call it, very updated curriculum or the course material. I still see like people people learning things like Ruby and Perl, which was I don't know, and don't get me wrong, these are like some really good tools, but very less enterprise or serious software happens in these things anymore. There are things like for example, Ruby is still relevant, Perl is still relevant, but then people are like not well, you can learn programming in any language, as I said, like, but still you have to invest some time to basically learn the new stuff like JavaScript and those things, which I don't think like especially as far as I remember, the universities in like India are teaching that kind of stuff. So that's true. And then basically there is probably they are discussing about some guy here. Okay, you have like been watching him for a while now. Most wholesome guy ever. Thank you, Brandon. Really appreciate it, man. I like that. I'm happy that you found something useful in my streams. And then there is this guy with like some valid concern. I can recognize the Indian coding style right there. Well, thank you so much. Well, whether you said it in sarcastic or good manner, but I think one thing that I like to and I don't take it in like I'm not offended by this comment, but one thing that I take I know for sure is that I did not go to an Indian university to learn programming. In fact, when I started coding, I was still in like grade 6 or 6. Yeah, I remember 6th grade in school, right? And I started writing code in BASIC. And I didn't learn from a teacher. I learned it from books, which were mostly written by Americans or like Western authors. And I'm not saying like I'm not trying to say whether these authors were bad, but yeah, that's how I learned programming, right? So if there are like people who do a full-time school and like they learn programming from school, but I'm a self-taught programmer. If there is some sort of a like Indian coding style in my programming, I don't know what would be the source of this kind of thing, but might be a dumb question, but do you need to know English to code? I don't think so. One of the things that like might be for example, like English is not super popular in places like China and Russia, right? But still I have worked with like some very good coders from China and Russia, both places. So you don't know, I don't think you need to know English to be a good programmer, but yes, it's like it becomes really difficult to find, especially like in languages like Hindi, which is like a native language in India. It becomes really difficult for you to find any meaningful content there for you to learn anything. You have to basically you have to learn English to be able to learn coding if you are somebody staying in India. So that's the kind of thing. Like, so basically in places like Russia and I don't know, like I've worked with like a few Russian colleagues, and they told me like most of their stuff is like in their native languages, so that's good, but that's not the case for us in India. Yeah, most of the keywords are all English, but like some of them are not even English. So if you see things like war, like if you use a language like war, they are just normal keywords. But yeah, true. I would say like instead of saying that like they are English, I would say that like they are Latin keywords or like Latin alphabets. So that's one of the things. But like there are languages like I think like I don't remember the name of that language. It was language which was used by a lot of like financial companies to build, and it's like it's a dialect of Haskell, which is like functional programming language, which is, and it's just like it uses all mathematical notations, no English, nothing, right? So it just uses lambda calculus and those kind of things, and then basically you can express any kind of logic using. And if you ask me honestly, most of our programming languages are basically influenced by lambda calculus to a certain extent. Some of them, like right now we have started seeing these very clear influence of lambda in the programming language. But even before that, like we had this concept of functions and those kind of things, which were like purely mathematical concepts. They came from mathematics, and that's how this, like, there was no need for them to define a func or a function as a function. They could have very well defined the syntax for a function to be the mathematical syntax. There is nothing stopping them from doing that. There is Dr. Shelder. She's saying you have to be able to read Stack Overflow. How else am I supposed to solve problems in my code? I mean, there are memes going on in internet saying, like, nowadays programming is as simple as basically knowing how to Google something, and when Google shows you the first result, which is Stack Overflow, then you should know how to copy and paste stuff. That's it. Like, that's how what coding is nowadays. But that's not true. Like it's like jokes apart. Like it's a very valid and very challenging field still today to be able to like learn coding, and it's a very rewarding field as well. Like the kind of the sense of accomplishment that you get when you go ahead and solve a problem by writing code. You get that kind of feeling that it's just you build something meaningful. It's a joke, but it's hard for a novice like me trying to learn. Lots of time people will post solutions but not explain their answers, and then I feel like I'm cheating. Yes, that's true. You are correct in that sense, and that's one of the reasons. Like one of the things that, like, my suggestion is for people who want to start learning right now is first, like, focus on the basics. My philosophy of like solving or like learning something is, the first question that I always answer is what. Like, what am I trying to achieve here? That's the first question for me to answer. The second question for me to answer is why. Like, let's say if I'm learning about variables, then why am I learning about variables? Why do we use them? What's their relevance, right? Those kind of questions. And then I will go ahead and how do you do it, right? That's the final piece. I feel that programming languages and everything else is just syntax. You don't have to learn syntax. You have to learn the concepts. Once you understand those concepts, it becomes really easy for you to grab an idea. For example, you might be wondering, like, okay, variables. How do variables translate to the absolute basic of like machine instructions, right? So when we have, if you try to understand I don't want to basically get into too much theory of computer science. But if you want to understand the computer architecture, right? So each we currently are working on the von Neumann architecture of computer science or computers. There is another architecture which is Harvard architecture, which is used by I think like RISC, I hope. But what happens is, basically in this von Neumann architecture, you have got two buses through which basically data travels, right? Or it's you have one bus through which both instructions and data transfer. So what happens is, when you have this data in the Harvard architecture, you have two buses which are basically which are transferring the data. One bus is transferring the data, the bus is transferring the instructions. But in like normal von Neumann architecture, you have just one single bus, right? So when you assign a variable, right, it goes through a single bus, and both the instruction and the data. Now what happens, like, if you are trying to assign something big, especially like things like strings and those kind of things, those registers are not filled instantaneously, right? That's the reason, like, those instructions are not guaranteed to be atomic. So when you understand these basics, then basically when you are working with variables and when you are writing code which does some parallel computing on more than one processor or more than one core, then you know that, okay, if you are trying to access some shared data, it might get corrupted. So those basics really help you build and scale up on terms of like your knowledge and understanding of So there is no replacement for this thing. No matter what language you learn or understand, it's always important to know the basics and like how stuff works, right? At the end of the day. And I'm not asking people to basically be like super expert in electronics and those kind of things, because all of this at the end boils down to electronics. But yeah, just having a very basic idea of how things work can make you a very good programmer. So my suggestion would be to basically just understand the computer architectures a little bit. That's super important for people to understand. And by the way, like I like I built my first PC myself. Like I got all the parts, motherboards and all that stuff. It was like it wasn't even a Celeron. It was like the previous generation. And basically I learned assembling the computers myself, that how the computer works, right? That also made me a good programmer, because now I know the hardware that works with this stuff. So I also know how like the design and the choices that I make when writing code are also basically tied to the underlying hardware or infrastructure that it's going to run on. But having said that, like I don't take this in like any offensive manner, saying like Indian coding style right there. It's okay. If there's like, I would be more than happy to if somebody can point out or like what are the areas where I can improve. It's like it's an ongoing learning process for me and for everybody else who's into IT. Right. So it's a I've been learning for the last 15 years, as like right after I started programming, and I'm still learning, and there are like new stuff, new ideas coming in every day. So it's an ongoing journey. I don't claim to be an expert today, and I wouldn't claim to be an expert ever, because well, the technology keeps on improving every day, right? Thank you all the wonderful people for subscribing, guys. It really means a lot. And basically this is like this is mostly I wanted to discuss this Reddit post in great detail, and I just wanted to basically get an idea about the opinions and things that people are saying about programming and coding and in general, like about things. But then there is this guy, he's saying, explain, I am British Indian and really code poorly. Okay. I don't know like what made them think that they are like a bad coder, but still it's okay. Then we have got somebody called Kural Lordi, who says, might be unrelated, but in my experience in trying to learn coding, I found that Indians often make simplified code which ends up having fuck ton of useless lines inside. Forgive my language, guys. It's like this is what it is written here. Useless lines inside it. It often serves the purpose, but you can upright delete like 1/3 of the code without breaking it. I think like this is true, guys. Like I've been doing code reviews in my job for like almost all my career, right? I have been working with people from different countries and places. I think like it's a general statement. It's not applicable, and I'm not saying this is because I'm an Indian. I'm just saying it like because I've worked with people who are like from different countries. It's a general statement which is true about everyone. And I also know, like I also don't focus on writing super elegant code in the first step, because I know the part which is being mentioned here, like 1/3 of you can delete 1/3 of code without breaking it. This part is known as refactoring, right? It's called refactoring, and there is a proper term for it because everybody does it. That's why there is a proper term called refactoring of the code. That's why it is. But and it's true for everyone. Everybody has like there is a proper practice in like software engineering which is known as refactoring, and that practice is to address this situation, because we know when we are starting to build things evolve over a period of time, and you just combine them together. I think like somebody is like, it's okay. I don't feel offended by them. I'm just trying to basically provide my opinion on their opinion, and as I said, like if somebody has an opinion about something, it's a valid opinion. They have every right to have it, and I don't feel offended about it. It's just that I think like these things might be helpful to someone who's like just starting off as a programmer, right? If I tell them what refactoring is, I'm not talking purely to justify myself. I'm trying to explain a concept here which might be beneficial to someone, right? So the point that I'm trying to make here is that don't focus on creating the perfect program from get-go. It's not going to happen, believe me. Like from all the experience, you can never write a perfect program in your first iteration, and that's why we have things like agile, which is another software development life cycle practice, which tells like we incrementally improve stuff, we incrementally add features to things. We don't create the perfect product from day one. It's like working software is far better than basically non-working, efficiently written code. That's what I'm trying to make a point here. But yeah, that's this is okay. It's not a problem. I think like cactobiologist saying like he's saying something in like in Hindi, which is like I can understand. He says like apna dimag kharab hoga, which means that like we can ignore this guy. There is no point in discussing this because it will just make you mad. But I'm not mad at this guy, and as I've said time and again, everybody has every right to have their opinions. I don't have a problem, and if somebody points out a valid criticism with like if like, so in my streams I have my code on screen, right? So if someone looks at it and then basically just tells, hey, these things can be removed, yes, that would be a valid criticism or like a valid point. But having a general statement, I can say like having a general statement that cheating is bad, right? It's a very abstract statement. Cheating is, yes, obviously all of us know cheating is bad. So those statements don't mean anything in general. Then there are some technical topics here now. CSS, HTML. Yeah, that's like some people don't like the fact what do you call it, the server side rendered things. But I think like in my opinion, when you're just prototyping with stuff, this is a very good way for you to work. And I'm not saying like I cannot well, React is also same, right? So it's good. If you want to do that stuff, you can do that. But what you need to do is basically with all that kind of stuff, if you are building a full blown software which has a back end and a front end, and what you want to do is I'm not using Node for my backend. So if I would have been using Node or JavaScript for my backend, yes, I would have basically written everything in React and that kind of stuff. But I'm not doing that, and there are very good reasons for me not doing it. Primarily, it's a personal opinion, and it's just that like the Node, the package ecosystem is like horrible, and it's not just like me. There are like ton of people saying this. But yes, there are a ton of people also saying that like Node is a great platform, and I'm not saying like Node is a bad platform or like, but the kind of breaking changes that happen, and I have seen like in like those ecosystems where like you have a package with just one line of code, right? Just one line of code, and you just create an npm package out of it, and then people start using that kind of philosophy. I don't feel it to be like a cohesive software development practice. It's just my personal opinion. The reason why I'm using CSS HTML is because I'm using a backend which is like .NET Core, and that backend is basically offers me something which I can build something very easily. I don't want to basically spend a lot of time configuring Webpack and those kind of things, and then basically changing my development experience. I think like something which just gets things done is fast enough. I can always go back and replace the CSS HTML with something like a React front end or an Angular front end. It's not a big deal. But yeah, there is a subscriber. It's called AUI. I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah. There is like this guy. He's saying there is like, it's a long thread, right? And then basically there are people asking, is there some reason why CSS HTML is so bad, or is there better alternatives? I think like it's not bad, it's just a different way of doing things. That's how I would like to put it. And then there is a boring specialist. They are specialist in something, but that's okay. If you aren't using React, Vue, Angular in 2020 for your front end, and you are doing it wrong. 90% of the time. Okay, well, that's a very bold statement to make. I don't agree to that, but that's okay. Like even if it's just a static site, you should be using Gatsby or Next.js. Uh, why do you need all this, right? This is a static website, and I haven't used any of those things here, Gatsby or anything. It's a static website. It's, yes, I have used React, but nothing else from that. Why do you need Gatsby? All this content, all this stuff is coming from GitHub. You don't need Gatsby or those kind of things. Why do you need them? See, there are opinions about things. It's okay to have them, but like making a bold statement like you are doing it wrong 90% of the time, I think like is a little bit of an overstatement. And by the way, like if you talk to a guy who's a React fan, he would say like, oh, Vue and Angular are horrible. If you talk to a guy who's an Angular fan, would say like, okay, these guys like don't know how to write front end. React and Vue are horrible. Please, guys, don't be fanboys. It's good to appreciate technology, but no framework or technology is perfect. It's like all of them have their flaws, and especially if you are just starting up, please don't get into opinions. Like if you are just like you just start, please appreciate that every framework, tool or technology, when I was starting like up, I did not take anybody else's opinion. I experiment with PHP and then I found out it's not very good, and that's the reason I don't like it. Make your own opinions about things, right? So this is and saying things like it's bad. For example, if you ask me, this CSS/HTML is there is something below here which says like Blazor and all those kind of things, which is another like a single page application framework from Microsoft. They use the CSS/HTML itself. It has CSS/HTML. It's not bad. It's just a different way of doing things. It's rendered on the server side. You can render it on the client side as well. The same approach. It doesn't matter. And then there's official Tom Cruise saying this is such a stupid comment. Well, that's I don't know, like it might be stupid, but yeah, thing is like I would not call it stupid. I would call it more of a, what do you call it? It's like I'm not saying like whether they are right or wrong in calling it stupid. I'm saying that like, my opinion here is it's an overstatement, right? So it's like it's getting too harsh on I got too having a very strong opinion which is not justified. And then Dark Destiny is talking about Blazor, which is similar to like similar to all these single page application frameworks. What Blazor is basically, it takes your C# code and it compiles it into your into WebAssembly. And today most of the modern browsers support WebAssembly. So this is like something that people generally use in terms of building single page applications. So it's another web application framework. Then I've got PTK69 saying it's pretty decent, especially if you are more of a backend guy and don't want to learn JavaScript, TypeScript or high levels, but want to be a full stack mostly just using C#. Seems nice, though I have to try it too. See, the thing is, I have built applications using JavaScript and TypeScript. For example, my website, this website is built using TypeScript. It's a purely TypeScript application, and I'm using it. I built it using so. You just like, it was a simple static web application. I update all this content on GitHub. There is a GitHub repository containing all the JSON files with this content. I just update it there, and then the website becomes just like, it's kind of semi-static and like dynamic. So for me to change any content, I have to go to GitHub and change the JSON files, and then it changes. If I want to change the structure, then I have to change the front end, which is TypeScript and React. So it's Bimao is telling like he only codes in Fortran. Man, if you code in Fortran, like you are going to make a fortune, because there are these companies, especially the old software which is used by folks like NASA and like a lot of other scientific community. They still have these software which was written in and still like parts of the system which they put on these rockets, which is written in Fortran, and it just works, right, guys? So if you are a guy who can program in Fortran, I mean, you are up for some serious money there. Like, you will be making a ton of money, because you don't find those programs. Most of those programmers who used to code in Fortran have either died, or they have retired, right? So then I've got Spoke AI. You are using React. Sorry, I'm new here. Yes, I'm using React for my website. This guy, and this is like, written in React. How can I learn it? Uh, I think, like yesterday, I also mentioned this. You can learn React by, like, first of all, you can go to reactjs.org if you want to. If you are like a purist and want to do something like this, you can learn from here. They have good examples to help you get started, right? They have tutorials and everything. If you want to have more of a full package with some real world code, then I would say, like, your best bet is the next bet is Udemy, because they have pretty decent courses. I have taken some myself. And by the way, like, I'm not I'm not affiliated with Udemy or anybody. I'm not sponsored by them to say this thing. It's just like, it's from my personal experience. So there are like pretty content rich courses there that basically take you from zero to kind of like some sort of a guy who can write React code and deploy websites. And they are like, most of the things that they teach there are like pretty hands on. They show you real examples of building websites. Although it's not just about learning React, you'll also have to learn the extra stuff that comes in, like the HTML, CSS, because those kind of things are the basic building blocks of web development. I'm trying to build up a React portfolio, something like this. This is my portfolio, and I think what happens is, like, let me just go to GitHub, and I think you can go to, okay, sorry. Yeah, this is like my other GitHub profile, and you might want to take some examples here. I can see, I think, yeah. So this is my personal website data, which is here, right? All the data is in this on these JSON files. And what happens is, basically, let's see, if I go to my home page, sorry, if I go to here, I think, like, there is yeah, so this is the code. I think it's not being maintained anymore. Why? I might have changed, like, I haven't updated this for quite some time. I think it's going to be here. It's going to be something like TSX. I just want to share this repository, which can I change the organization? I'll post the link onto the stream, like, description afterwards. But there is like I don't, like, I haven't, as I said, like, I haven't changed the layout in a long time. All I do is basically just update the content on the other like data. So this guy contains all these JSON files which has the data. So it's like a semi-static website, in the sense that, like, it's dynamic. I can change these JSON files to change anything, but most of the stuff on the layout is mostly like static. I can change it, and it's a React application. So yeah. Brendan is saying learning web development is like learning spoken language. imitate, learn the sounds, common phrases, get your mouth moving, and then go out and try to hold a conversation, understanding what you are actually saying and what you need to learn. Yeah, that's true. That's a very good analogy. That's how it works. You just start, kind of trying to reach out, because if you look, like, if you cannot talk to me, the way for you to understand about me, this is a way for me to say that this is who I am, right? This is my personal portfolio website, and this is how you come and like talk to me and like understand who I am. And this is a way for me to tell you, like, guys, this is how it's used, right? So that's a very good analogy. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, I had a lot of fear. I just got what do you call it? I'm staying indoors nowadays, so I thought, like, maintaining all this. So I just went downstairs to the saloon and then asked the guy to just remove it all. Okay. There is EFCore TV. I am now a mid Java dev. Would it be wiser choice to study and progress for a senior role, or turn my attention towards full stack? Believe me, this is such a bad term that has been floated around by people. I'm not saying it's just like, okay, here is my opinion. There is nothing like full stack. There is the only thing that you have is basically the only distinction that you have between a programmer and a UX designer is that a UX designer makes decisions about what colors, what would be the shape, and those kind of things about software. Like, for example, this, if I were to give this to a UX designer, he would give me a mock-up of this thing with choices around the colors and fonts and how it should be. But everything else is engineering. You are an engineer, it doesn't matter. There is, like, I feel that you don't have something like a full stack and like a back end or a front end engineer. If you know how to create a front end, you can very well create a back end as well, because it all comes down to the skills which are related to logic and organization of stuff, right? So you organize things and you basically logically organize them, whether you are doing front end programming or back end programming. You make certain choices, certain decisions in your code, whether you are doing front end or you are doing back end. So there is no distinction between a back end and a front end engineer, or a back end and a full stack engineer. All of them are, like, more or less, in my opinion, some should focus on solving engineering problems. So I hope I was able to answer your question, Yuko. But that's what my understanding of full stack is, guys. Do you think a degree is necessary for a career? No, I don't think so. Guys, I don't have a degree. And basically, I don't have an engineering degree. I did not need a degree to be hired as a software engineer. The first job that I got, I didn't have a bachelor's degree in computer science or anything. And then basically, yes, I got a bachelor's degree in computer applications while I was working as an engineer. I thought, like, it's a good thing to at least complete my bachelor's, but I did it after I started working. So yeah, to answer your question, you don't need a degree. All you need is basically very good understanding of the concepts. You should be able to write good software. Even if you have like a degree and you write horrible code, it's not going to help you. Mostly, so that's my suggestion. I'm not saying don't do a degree. Please don't think that I'm not saying, like, I'm trying to persuade people to drop out of college and do. It's super important. What I'm trying to say is, it's not the absolute necessity, right? So that's what my if you have passion about it, the main goal should be learning, right? If you learn from college, that's good. If you don't learn from college, if you don't like that kind of structure of learning, please go ahead and basically learn, but focus on learning. That's the most important part. And even more important is to make sure that you learn from the right sources. The kind of safety net that you get when you are in college is basically these people are authentic. Today, if you look on internet, especially on YouTube, there are these scammers or like these fake gurus who are trying to, like, sell you courses which are worth nothing. They don't offer any value to you, and most of these guys will basically try to give you some sort of a like some sort of a incorrect promise that you will become rich by following this course, or you'll get like you will be able to earn a 5-figure salary. Those claims are like those claims are not like correct. Those are like incorrect. It takes time, like everything else. For you to build a career, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. If somebody is saying that you will be able to like taking this course and you will be able to make 5-figure salary after this, I think like that's purely fictional kind of claim. I don't believe in those claims, and I wouldn't recommend anybody to believe in those claims either. Thank you, Lekas, for subscribing, man. It's really appreciated. I really like it. Okay, so Yuko TV said like, yeah, I quit my job, studied Java, and was employed as junior dev within 3 months. Then most important thing is the personal development. Yes, Yuko, that's true. How did you go about learning Java? Most of it is like self-study, guys, right? Yeah, so just there is Helsinki MOOC you might have used. There is another website which I like, which is like Coursera, right? So they have some very specialized courses there as well. So you can learn things like machine learning from very good, and most of these are free. So they don't like ask you for any kind of like money. These are like free courses. So thank you, Itch Killer, for subscribing, man. Really appreciate it. Yeah, that's true, Brandon. Like Udemy has huge discounts, and their discounts are like round the clock year. Like whenever you visit them, there is some sort of a discount running. So yeah, you and like the content. If you look like some of these courses, like 50 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours worth of content. So which means like these guys have created like some super detailed concepts, right? So they're really nice if you want to basically learn and go really hands on with things. Okay. And I've never heard about this Helsinki MOOC. I would be interested in knowing more about it though. What's this Helsinki MOOC? Okay. Yeah. This is like I've never taken courses on them, but I think they might be good. Specifically like if they are like some sort of I think like they have courses in different languages as well, right? So I think it's good. Printing on screen, continue to part 2. Yeah, so that's my take on these kind of things. Is Java Spring a good place to start? As I said, like there is no bad place to start. If you start with let's say something like PHP, it's a good place to start. Get the basics, understand how to basically convert a requirement into code. Once you understand that, how to structure it, how to make it efficient, what are the algorithms, what data structures are more meaningful. Once you understand that, then basically just you can choose. I have switched between like 15 different languages and technologies in my career, and I do it all the time. Like even today in my work, I'm required to sometimes work in Java, sometimes in Python, sometimes in .NET Core, C#, and it's easy for you to switch once you understand the basics, right? So once you understand those data structures and algorithms, then it's easy. And no technology is bad to start. If you want to start with PHP, go ahead and do it. If you find it more like if it resonates better with you, right? Some languages, some syntax is more natural to some people. It's the same way, right? So all of us have different choices, different tastes in food. The same way all of us might find some syntax or some like semantics more easier to understand than others. Whatever you find easy to understand, go ahead and use it. Is what my suggestion would be. Cool. So that's let's go back to our stuff. By the way, like this Blazor, yeah, if you want to get started with this is also a good place to start. But as I said, start with something. Razor templating is pretty sweet, honestly, and C Sharp is just a tool like any other. You might dislike IIS, which is fair. I wasn't too fond of it, and basically now you can guys, the .NET and C Sharp now runs on like any platform and any place we want to. You don't even need to run IIS as this guy is mentioning. There is another web server built by the .NET team which is known as Kestrel, and you can use Kestrel to basically run your application, and then basically you can put a reverse proxy in front of it, which is called, like, you can put a reverse proxy like Nginx, and it's good enough. You don't need to host your website on IIS, because as UAB Stark is mentioning, you can host .NET Core with like Kestrel and Nginx. You don't need IIS going forward. Yes, that's true. Stack Overflow uses Stack Overflow is a .NET Core based website. They use I don't know whether they moved to .NET Core or they are still using .NET, classical .NET. But yeah, Stack Overflow is driven through .NET. It uses the same engine, which is CSHTML for the views that you see, and it's a super performing website. And right now with .NET Core, probably it's looking at their benchmark results, it's pretty impressive, man. Like it's quite nice that they have done. There are certainly worse choices. I sure as fuck wouldn't try to run a server on R, which is even though it's possible. But after you hit a certain level of convenience, it's all just comes down to the context. What are you doing? What are you running? Where are you running it? Who else is making it with you? How much do you expect to pay for the people to work on it? Yes, I mean these are very valid points to discuss. And for example, today, in my work, I'm mostly using .NET and .NET Core, right? So from that perspective, I wouldn't want to switch, because I work on that particular thing for 8 hours, right? And if then I start working with something else, I'll have to basically keep on switching between these things, which is not very productive. It's possible, it's also a good thing to do, but it's not very productive. So I think that's the reason. And as somebody saying, there is no difference between C# and PHP or Python or Node or anything that you use, right? As long as you use those basic things. This is a very a nice discussion happening here on Reddit, and I think people are expressing all kind of diverse views here, which is super cool and awesome. Are you a computer science student or just interested in coding? How would you recommend someone to get into it as a basic hobby? How would I recommend? Although this question probably is not pointed to me, but still I like to answer this question. How would I recommend? I would recommend just get into it, right? Start writing code, start building useless stuff. It doesn't have to be super useful. Start building something which you find meaningful, something which you find interesting. It doesn't have to be super useful. It doesn't need to solve any problem. You can just write code just to draw some random stuff on the screen. That's fair enough. And as I saw an example from Brendan yesterday, he showed me a Python script that he has written, which just counts the number of clicks. Now it might be super useless, but still it's a good way of learning stuff. How do you count stuff? How do you make decisions based on certain things? How do you distinguish in between the left click and the right click? Those are all important things. Those are important things to learn when you are building logic, right? So there is this guy, probably Sirin Eldarin might have some suggestions for us. Getting it into it as a basic hobby is gonna be a personal answer. Many different ways work for different people, and furthermore, not everybody can do it. Some people just don't like or are incapable of switching how their brain works. For me, I got started from playing in MUDs and MMOs, which are text based, and wanting to implement more complex behaviors in my client to help playing the game. For you, it might be similar. Macros in WoW can do pretty complex stuff when you script them in Lua. Once your feet are wet, you could live into make simple add-ons, or maybe something similar in another game.
this is a very important thing that this guy mentioned. Like I really like it, and a huge shout out to them. Solving problem teaches you things, which is a very, like, when you learn how to solve problems, you learn a lot of other things. How you learn how to work your way around problems, which is like, which might you it's a skill that you need so much often in your life. There are like always situations where like you find yourself in a place where like you have to solve a given problem, right? Not just in terms of coding, but also in your life. So it teaches you things which are super useful, and then you can apply those things when solving further problems later on, right? Not just problems in coding, but also in your life. Get in the mindset of identifying small things that frustrate you when you use computer, and instead of being frustrated, figure out how you can fix it somehow. Wow, that's a $1 million suggestion right there, guys. It's like, if you want to do something like this, that like this guy has like answered almost like everything that anybody might think of in terms of like asking these questions, right? So that's an awesome suggestion. And then basically I've got this guy, which I would not basically like to say their name on a public stream, but he said like, I am a Microsoft ecosystem guy, so I am going to offer nothing of interest here, but if you want to be a hobbyist programmer and don't know where to start, I'll start you off. Download Visual Studio Code, which is like, yeah, super simple to do. Learn C# as programming language, and then basically they have good documentation. And this is like, see, this is true for almost everything. Like some of the open source tools and technology like PHP, you might not be like, you might find like too much opinionated stuff. But if you go, like, if you start with a standard thing like maybe Golang or C#, or for that matter Python, you get very good content created by the companies who are backing these technologies. For example, Google is backing Python, so you'll get a lot of good content from them, a lot of guidance. The same applies to C#, which is using basically which is being backed by Microsoft. Why would you use Node over C# if you want to performance? Guys, this is not true. I will like, this is like probably this, like, just to debunk this. I would want to get something really latest. I think like there was, I don't remember the okay, I will say .NET Core benchmark. This one is the one. Yeah, this is the Tech Empower Framework benchmarks. And if you can go here and see the benchmark scores for ASP.NET Core, and they have not this guy, this one, no, this one was the correct one. And they have provided this super helpful repository to basically compare them. I don't remember, I was like looking at one of the slides. I mean, .NET Core today is like 60% faster than Node.js, and I don't like this percentage might be like 5-10% here and there, but that's the situation. So this is like, this has changed quite a bit. So that statement is like probably not true anymore. If you want performance, no, it's not. And you have to understand one more thing, like Node.js is not even what do you call it, a compiled platform. Node stuff is like all JavaScript, string manipulation happening in memory. I'm not saying that you can do very efficient string manipulation, but when it comes down to everything, the kind of JavaScript programs are nothing but just a bunch of string, right? Whereas most of these compiled programs are binary programs, Java or like C# or even C, some of them are like compiled into an intermediate language, some of them are like compiled to the native code, but still they are more optimized in terms of like the compiler gets an opportunity to remove inefficient code from the flow and basically optimize it a little bit, which doesn't happen with things like Node.js. If you write inefficient code, it's going to be inefficient. It's always going to run inefficient. There is no optimization happening anywhere. Cool. And then so basically this guy is like complaining, I don't recall asynchronous threaded stuff being particularly easy to do in C#. Well, if you are talking about multi-threaded, it's not easy to do in any language. If you talk about asynchronous, yes, it's easy to do in C#. C# and JavaScript, they just have the similar kind of, right now they have async await in JavaScript and you have async await in C#. It's just the same thing. It's the same concept. Nothing new there. So that's like when it comes to multiple threading, it's not easy in any language. Even platforms like JavaScript make it even worse because of the fact that like your threads take up ton of memory because they have to basically do this kind of like complex string manipulation to run the program. Java scares me. Brandon is saying like he's scared of Java. I used to work on run escape private server when I was like 14 and it made zero sense to me. Thank you Haku for subscribing, man. I think like Java or like it's more around getting into comfort zone, guys. Right? Once you start it's similar, right? If somebody started speaking to me in Mandarin, I would be like really uncomfortable for quite some time. I would have to basically, let's say if I knew a few words of the language here and there, and I would have to be super careful, and that kind of carefulness takes energy. So my brain would be constantly pumping, like taking out energy from my body to be that kind of attention level, and in doing so I will feel uncomfortable. So that's the reason, like once you have been working with it for quite some time, you become comfortable, you get into a hang of it, and then basically it becomes super easy for us to work with. So it's true with any language, not just the computer languages, but also the natural languages that we speak in the real world. Yeah, this guy has tried to clarify a misnomer here, which says like Node is not multi-threaded at all. Like it's just asynchronous IO. That's it. Like it doesn't do anything else. And no language is good at doing multi-threading. Even like functional languages, the best way for you to is like not to have mutable shared state between like different threads. That way you can guarantee that they can work in isolation, and then you can combine the results. And that's why you have these important techniques like map reduce, which take advantage of this kind of concept, where like there are multiple mapping operations happening in parallel, and then basically you reduce each operation incrementally and to reach a final goal. That's those kind of techniques are super helpful. And they don't if you follow that kind of approach, and by the way, like you can follow that kind of approach in any language, JavaScript, C#, Java for that matter, Scala. So but these are approaches, like these are design patterns as they are known in software engineering. They are not tied to a specific language. You can follow a design pattern in any language, and as soon as you follow, some languages offer them out of the box to you, for some you have to write code. That's the only difference. So C#, this trash account 69 wants to stick with C# because he has been using it mostly for building desktop applications and C++. If you are getting started in web development, there is no reason to unlearn C#. You can do web development with C# using things like Blazor or CSHTML, or you can combine JavaScript and C# together as well. We have got Yoda saying that like I have had to start supporting C#, IES, MS SQL application recently, and I honestly just setting up a dev PC using Microsoft tool is a pain.
Well, that's yeah. It's like a statement, right? Wherein like, if you don't know, let's say you are someone who's running these big artillery guns, and all of a sudden you are posted into Air Force, and now you are started to you have a different guns in the Air Force, because the guns are mounted on airplane. They have to be of different kind of thing, the form factor and those, but still they are guns, and some of them are even more destructive than those artillery guns, right? But the thing is, they are different. Doesn't mean that they are good or bad. It's not difficult to set up development tools, especially if you are using by the way, like, who's using Visual Studio 2015 now? Why do you need to use Visual Studio 2015, guys? You don't need. You can get Visual Studio 2019 Community Edition free. It's just free, right? Why do you need to use 2015? And by the way, like, why do you even need to use Visual Studio? You can use VS Code, which takes 5 minutes to download and install. And also, why do Microsoft installers overcomplicate things? Well, you don't know what you don't know, right? So that's the crux of this particular statement. But I'm not saying like that Microsoft tools are better. If you want to use, there are like tons of IDEs available. There is one IDE called JetBrains Rider, which if you are interested in, like, if you are more a Java kind of a guy who has been using something like JetBrains, there is another IntelliJ IDEA. If you are using that kind of stuff, you might find JetBrains Rider to be more familiar, which is a .NET IDE. If you want to use IDE, and in the first place, you don't even need an IDE to start coding, right? You can use Visual Studio Code, which is like kind of a text editor in its plain sense. So if you have a text editor, you're good enough. You can use Sublime Text for that matter. So these arguments around the tools and all stuff, it's like tools are just a personal preference, right? Some people have X tool, like X tool, some people like Y tool. So these, like, I don't think that it's worth it to discuss about these as a like, you don't need a full-fledged IDE for them. And then some of them are mentioned, like you can use CLI for .NET Core and just use simple tools, for example, any Sublime Text. This is a very interesting statement. His database context registration is invalid. If they could have provided an example, that would have been an opportunity for me to fix what they mean by database context registration is invalid. I think probably they might not have looked at the entire stream. Probably, I don't know what made them think that like the database context registration is invalid. But in any case, if you are watching this stream, Tatis, I think like that's how they pronounce it. Please, I'll try to reply to you on this thread as well. Please try to provide me the place where I can fix it or improve it. I would really appreciate it, man. It's really nice of you to like take some time and like figure out that something is wrong there. So need some input from experienced people. Is 19 too late to learn this? No. 19 is like, as we were discussing yesterday, 19, you are a zoomer, right? You are not a boomer, you are a zoomer. So you are just the right age to learn this. It's never too late to learn programming. Yes, you can start. It's never too late or never too early. You can start at whatever age you think. There are like people posting some YouTube channels and that stuff, which is nice. I mean, find something that works for you is the crux here, right? As we had like somebody mentioning above, right? So just find something meaningful which works for you. Like each of us can like take different approaches, right? So it's okay. I just tapped into JS now after covering HTML, which is nice. Like, see, this is the approach that I was like, this is a very good approach to start. Honestly speaking, Sleepy Addict,
this is a very good approach to start. Basically, just first understand, like build something you basic, like using HTML and CSS, and then start learning the logical part of it, so that you can see something meaningful happening there for you. It's really awesome, man. It's .NET Omega lull. Okay, there are people who hate below. So, and some of the comments are hidden here, which are probably because I don't know how the Reddit works, and it's because probably they are mentioning some profanity words in their comments. That's why basically they are hidden. Hopefully that's what my understanding is, and I don't want to even like discuss them because web dev is JavaScript and Python, not C#. Okay, this is a hilarious statement. So that's the reason, like C# is not web development. Okay, if you look at a website which is Stack Exchange, right? Probably like this is one of the highest visited Stack Overflow, which is one of the like highest visited website in terms of like daily visits, and this is like .NET, guys. Like please don't make opinions about things which are founded on incorrect facts and statements. Yeah, comments are sorted by score, so that's the reason probably. Yeah. So you said like you are in downvoted comments. Wow, somebody downvoted me. Okay, that's nice. Come here. Control F. Yeah. Okay. And then basically I'm down here somewhere in the downvoted comments, probably. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, that's so. This statement is not correct, guys. Please, it's not true. You can write. So, like, for example, if somebody said like web development is not PHP, yeah, PHP. You can write. You write web development or like software code using PHP. And basically, no, Python is not just for web development. There, like Python is primarily used for, like, if you look today, it's used for running like a lot of websites, but a lot of people are also using it for machine learning and those kind of things as well. That's true. What you are seeing there is effect of not correctly adjusting styling for smaller devices with CSS. It has nothing to do with the fact he used C#. C++ for faster flash performance. Okay, this is good. This is why is this a fail? I think it's fine to do that. It's just that like probably the name of this this Reddit thread is like epic or like some sort of live stream fails. But whosoever, like it's well, I don't mind being posted here. I think basically they whosoever posted here was not in like didn't intend to say that it was a fail. It's just that that this is what do you call it? This is some sort of like a platform to discuss something, right? So although it's good, like and I'm really thankful to let me just see to the person who posted this. Let's see who was posting it. Yeah, it's like IA man 1004. It's like it's or no, not this guy. It was Imad Beg 91 who posted this. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing their name correctly or not, but I'm sorry. Thank you, Spoke AI. It's really it means a lot to me, honestly. Well, as I said,
I don't think like they meant to basically say that it was a fail. It probably they started off this Reddit thread a long time ago, and they started off as a, like posting live stream fails, but then somebody took an opportunity to post my clip here, saying that like it's this guy is doing good job, and I'm really thankful that they did, because otherwise I wouldn't have had a chance to talk to all the awesome folks that I've been able to speak to, and like have such like a diverse set of opinions from so many different people. So I think like it's a good and kind thing to do. Whosoever did this like has been quite helpful to me, and I found it to be like, and I'll try to be more active on Reddit going forward. And you might have also seen like I've it was because of this post that I got so serious, and I just basically changed my entire streaming kind of vibe as well. You now see like I'm doing it. I took some time today to learn about how people stream over Twitch, what kind of conventions they follow, how they use different tools and overlays, and to have these things available on the stream. So that's the reason like this particular post is one of the reasons like I was able to improve my stream. I'm not saying like it's perfect, but it's going to be it's going to be better. I would try. I don't claim to be an expert in everything. Thank you Brandon for the appreciation, man. And it's like yes, it's a beautiful place, the internet. There's like so much stuff to learn, right? Today it inspired me to learn about some of the things which I was not interested in learning. For example, why do I need to learn how to make my stream beautiful or make it a little bit more engaging? Well, I have to do it because it would make sure that basically people who are interested in learning this stuff, or like are interested in finding out about the stuff that I like to talk about, they get a chance, and they would be like, it would be easier for them to find me. So that's the thing. Yeah. So there's a comment from Brandon. He said like the subreddit is actually aggregate for anything live stream related. It started as a fail subreddit and evolved into a platform for anything related to Twitch streaming. Yes, that's a yeah. Looking at this, I can see this. Like if you look, it's like approximately 1 million subscribers or followers on this particular thing. So yeah, it's a subreddit which eventually like evolved into like a Twitch related thing. And I'm fortunate that like within few weeks of me starting my stream, I got a chance to be featured here. So it's really important for me. I cannot tell how important, like how helpful it was for me to be able to basically it inspired me to basically go ahead and organize my stream a little bit better with all this information around like what are the people saying, if there are like new subscribers. So I was being lazy earlier. I was just focusing on the core of my issue, but now I thought I realized that the packaging is also important. If I am able to inspire others to basically come to my stream and then discuss with me, at the end of the day my goal is to basically be helpful to people, right? So build stuff and then also show how to build that kind of stuff to others, right? And I think like the most important thing for me is to be able to make sure that I am able to reach people who are interested in building this kind of stuff and knowing more about it. So I think it's a very good there are like a lot of other things to fix. For example, my bot here still says stream elements. I'll have to change it to my name so that like you guys can know that this is me who's saying here. So yeah, there are ton of opportunities for me to fix, and I'll keep on improving the stream, guys. But I'm really grateful for all of you to come around here and basically discuss with me all the ideas, great stuff that you guys think, and I'll try to be more regular in my streams going forward as well. Right now I was doing it on a very ad hoc and like unpredictable manner. So tonight I'm also going to basically create a schedule,
be more regular in terms of like so that it's more predictable. People can know when they need to tune in to be able to basically to be able to get on the stream with me, and if to see if they can find something meaningful there. I'm sure like looking at this, I found that like a lot of people are interested in software development, and they are interested in learning how to build stuff. So I think like my goal here would be to just to be able to provide a medium where like I can show based on like my knowledge and experience what approach could be a useful approach. And as I said, like no approach is the perfect approach. Everything can be done in a different way and equally effectively, right? So it's just that making certain choices help you in moving faster, while others basically optimize a different problem or a different area of interest. So that's it. Like we will I'll be here for around like next 5 minutes or so. Then basically I have a meeting with the designer who's helping me in like creating. So you guys might have noticed this. I don't know if you saw this or not earlier, but if I go to this one here, and if I come back, app dot app dot so there is a designer who helped me with the okay, crap, it's not working anymore, but I just wanted to like all the graphics and all those kind of things which are built by let's see if I can show you here. Probably I do have them. Downloads, right? So these graphics are like are the graphics which is used on the login screen. The login screen on the live app is broken. I fixed it yesterday while I was streaming, but I haven't deployed it yet. So I will deploy it sometime tonight. But these so the person who's helping me with this, like they are also starting off with this like graphic design. They are a photographer. They write they build, but they use Photoshop and like other graphic editing software, but they just do it for like professional photography. Now they're interested in like doing this kind of, then they have a very good understanding of colors and that. So she just like helped me in creating these vector graphics, and they are awesome, right? So she's also trying to learn a new field. Same like some of you might be trying to learn how to write code and program. So this is just a way of like how when you the best way to learn something is by start doing it. When you do it, you learn it, right? You might not make it perfect, but that's okay. Nothing is perfect, and nothing ever will be perfect. It's always like a constant game of improvement. I saw like Brendan just bought a first course on Udemy. That's nice. Hope you and basically if you are like are having any questions, they have like the instructors there are quite active. They are good in answering questions. They respond back. But just in case, like feel free to drop me an email or send me a message, and I'll be more than happy to get on a call with you to try to basically explain something. Although as I've been repeating again and again, I don't claim to be an expert. It's just like I have some experience. I might be able to help. So Brendan just posted this course, which is yeah, this is a nice course. Like if you look at the ratings, it's like around 4.6, and like so a lot of people have purchased this course. They have used it, and after learning from it, they have rated it quite high. So this is a very good thing. Complete Python bootcamp from zero to hero in Python. Yeah, this is like I feel nothing. As I said, like if you don't practice it, it's not gonna work for you. The magic action is the magic word in here, right? So you have to act on it.
Yes, man, it's going to be like super helpful, and please feel free to reach out to me, Brandon, if you need help. I would be more than happy to basically uh, provide any guidance that I might. And if you think like you or if you like have an idea that you would like to discuss, please, and I wish you all the best for your course journey. Okay, guys, so it's time for me to literally basically come towards the end of my stream. If you guys have any questions or would like to like ask me anything before I go, please drop in the comments, and then basically I'll be happy to take a couple of minutes to answer them. Okay, cool. And I'm not really good in terms of basically in terms of closing things. So uh, I think basically I'll try to thank all of you for coming along today and basically tuning in and listening to me in terms of and also participating with me in by providing all the like meaningful comments. My stream, like I would want to add those comments here onto the screen. It's not showing as of now. I am still working, like I was just creating this stuff on the streaming software. It's not yet finished, so I'll try to do that today sometime. But I think so far it's like if I say here, like I would try to basically put some those comments, live comments around somewhere around here in the screen, so that like it's more meaningful and organized, and people can see if what so that it's more engaging. Okay, I think cool, man. All the best, Brandon, and hope to see your website soon, man. Cheers. Bye. Alright, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and hope to see you sometime soon. By the way, like I also plan on streaming maybe in a couple of hours from now, just to basically finish off the deployment of my site. So if you are around, you can come along and see me code. That would be purely like I will be focusing purely on writing code and not doing so much of talking, and keep my mouth shut mostly. All right.